Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast where we turned the Dallas Show and made it into a podcast. For today's episode, I have the lovely honor of having Will Macke on the podcast to talk about food competition shows. I know he loves food competition shows. I love food, so it was just the perfect thing to talk about. So enjoy this episode of the Dallas Show, the season finale. Interesting.
I'm sorry, that wasn't a judgment. It might have seemed like a judgment, and it was 60% a judgment.
And what do you have against ASMR?
I have nothing against ASMR. It's just not my thing. Everybody gets things. It's not one of mine.
You heard it here first. Everyone gets things. Are we recording? We don't know. Okay, awesome. Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast where we took the Dallas Show and made it a podcast. My name is Dallas, and today I have with us a guest, very special guest. His name is Will Macke. Say hi, Will.
Hi, Will.
Good one. Roasted. How does it feel to be on the season finale of the Dallas Show, the podcast?
I'm the finale.
You sure are.
I made it to the finale. I'm so excited.
We've talked about you in every episode, waiting for this episode.
I should probably start watching them
then. What a dick. Okay. So
that's not true. I've seen them. I'm
you're
excited.
So you're the third part of our 3-part reality TV / game show kind of arc of things. Today we're going to talk about cooking game shows. Are you familiar?
I am. I'm in love with cooking game shows. It combines 3 of my favorite things: food, television, competition.
Yeah.
What more do you need in life?
It's good stuff. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about 8 of the most popular.
Okay.
And we're just going to go from there.
Oh gosh, I hope I've seen them all.
I'm certain you have.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the oldest, 2001. So these all started in like 2001. Because when I was talking with Caroline, when I was looking up like reality shows, they really didn't come to the forefront until like early 2000s.
Sure.
Which I didn't really think about. But then 2000 is also 20 years ago. So
surprise.
21 years ago.
We're old now.
It's crazy. So 2001, we have Iron Chef America. Did you watch Iron Chef?
The American or the
American one?
Yes.
So came out in 2001. There's 13 seasons so far. I've never seen Iron Chef, so why? It's the only
starting strong, friends.
It's the only one I haven't seen. That's why I wanted to start with.
Okay,
so I know of it.
Sure,
but explain the format.
So it is my understanding is it's an older show that was in Japan first. True, false? You don't know. You've never seen it.
I know it was in Japan first.
Okay,
I made that up. I have no idea.
I believe that's correct, and then it moved to America, where you have the Iron Chefs. It's where Bobby Flay. Most of us started knowing about Bobby
and
Flay.
Alex Guarnaschelli. She an Iron
Alex
Chef?
Guarnaschelli eventually became an Iron Chef. She was not one of the OGs, but she's my favorite, and I'm sure we'll talk about her later. I'm sure that she's in one of. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What else can I tell you about it?
So it was you competed against an Iron Chef.
Sure.
It's a secret ingredient, and the guy yells.
He yells, "I like cuisine," and he lifts the...
And it's like butter or green peppers or peppermint.
Yeah, and you have to make, I think it's like a 5-course meal. And every course has to feature the secret ingredient in some kind of way. So, like, how are you going to make an anchovy dessert? Best of luck.
That's awful. So you've seen Iron Chef. Do you have a favorite Iron Chef?
I love Kat Cora. I think
Kat Cora. I was going to say Kat Dennings. I feel like that's an actress.
Yep, you would.
Kat Dennings?
Yeah.
Married to Josh Groban. Maybe. I was thinking of
but
Kat
not Kat Cora.
Okay.
Yeah, Kat Cora is my favorite. I mean, obviously Bobby Flay is there. People love Bobby Flay. I love Bobby Flay, but you can't give the vanilla answer of Bobby Flay. So, yeah. Alex Guarnaschelli also.
She's so good.
She's a star.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next. We're going to go from oldest to most recent.
Okay.
So the next one, I think you're familiar with. Came out in 2005. It's 19 seasons deep. Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen. One of my favorites. One of my very favorites. Gordon Ramsay.
Yes.
Gets to yell at people.
I've also seen a lot of Hell's Kitchen. Yelling at people. And my favorite thing about Hell's Kitchen is, and we've talked about it a little bit, is for Hell's Kitchen, the people who win, they don't have to be the best on the show.
No.
People make it to the end
like oftentimes they're not.
that do not great throughout the season, and then it just gets to a point where it's like, well, out of the ones that are left, you weren't the worst.
Yeah, it is interesting because in a bunch of these shows that we're talking about, it's a combination of things, right? It's personality. It's not just cooking skills. So you have to factor in personality. You have to factor in like what makes for good television. So who's going to get viewers. So you know, that it's not always about who makes the best food or what's the most appetizing or what do I personally want to eat. It's about what's going to get eyes on the screen. Or at least that's what it feels like for some of these. So
Yeah.
I feel very much that that's Hell's Kitchen. It's a lot of production.
Well, and I mean, it's such a like wheelhouse in Fox's lineup
Sure.
that it has to do well. So you might have to sacrifice culinary skill for people who are just more fun to watch.
Absolutely. Have you seen the new season?
Yes.
Yes. How do you feel about the new season?
It's fine.
It's fine. It's not one of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're trying to do stuff with social distancing. And
Until they bring Barbie back, I don't want anything to do with it.
Barbie's your fave?
Barbie, Robin, Heather.
Now you're just throwing out names.
No.
I mean, they're all names. they all are people. You are correct.
Who was the other one? I don't remember. Who are your favorites? Who sticks out to you?
Oh, Ryan. Ryan is my favorite.
Okay.
She won season
Like 9 or something.
Christina, who won season 10. One of my favorites. She's the current sous chef for the red team.
Yeah, we talk about her a lot.
Gotta love her.
Christina's great.
Yeah,
She
but
listens
Ryan
to this podcast.
Does she really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Christina. You can find me on Twitter. I'm a big fan. So
Yeah.
Cool. Ryan is my other favorite winner.
Yeah, I think
She doesn't get a lot of stage time in
No.
her season, but I think it's because she's really good and she just kind of like chills.
Well, and I think that was part of the reality aspect Caroline and I were talking about on the last one was a lot of times if you kind of fly under the radar. And I know you've talked about if they don't get a lot of screen time, they're the ones that are probably going to do well.
Sure.
Because
they'll get more
Yeah.
screen time as the season progresses.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got to let those people have their tragedy stories in the beginning if they're getting kicked off in the first 3 episodes.
and knowing enough about editing and all that stuff. If you have a lot of time, you're either going to win or you're out. There's no
Correct.
really in between. All right, so we're going to move on to 2006.
Is it Chopped?
2006. This show has 17 seasons. This is Top Chef.
Top Chef.
No.
Tom Colicchio.
Yes. Now, see, Top Chef, I didn't really get into until you got into it.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Well, it kind of introduced me to it, but I don't think I like Top Chef as much because it's people who are all pretty good.
They're Michelin star winners.
Yeah,
and you
and
want to see trash
I
people
wanna
making
see trash
food.
people.
Yeah, okay.
Restaurant Wars is the staple episode where it's like, can they run a restaurant? And it's always the person who runs the front of house that goes home because there's no cooking
Or wins.
or which it's wild.
Yeah.
The front of house person, there should be a front of house person. They should all be cooking.
Yeah, but if you're in cooking shows specifically to see people fail, which I feel like sometimes you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like the good thing about Top Chef is trying to make any of them pastry chefs. Because anytime that there's a dessert challenge,
They all
instantly
don't know what to do.
are really
Like,
terrible.
I did a savory dessert.
And you know a lot about pastry, obviously. So I feel like there's something in it for you if you look for the dessert episodes.
He says, obviously, I have a baking degree. That's
Oh,
why.
sorry. If you didn't know about our host, Dallas.
That was not sarcasm. You know a lot. Obviously, you know a lot about pastry.
Obviously, you know a lot about it.
Yeah. Yeah, pastry is always a fun one. I mean, not that I'm very, very good at it, but I know enough that if people do it, they're not very, like, they don't usually do that. They usually try to be like, well, how can I make this pastry without making it pastry?
I forgot this is a podcast, so you couldn't see me rolling my eyes as I was saying that, as he was saying that he can't bake or he's not.
All
very
right. So
good
what's
at
your
it.
favorite part of Top Chef? Carla.
Top Chef.
Carla.
Oh, Carla.
New host of Worst Cooks in America.
Yeah, she was also on The Chew with Clinton Kelly. I think her very first thing was Top Chef. She did not win, but she's fun. She's whimsical. She's everything I want in a food personality.
Yeah, the other thing with Top Chef is it feels like the people who, even if you don't do well on Top Chef, you're still you get other opportunities.
Sure.
That's one of the things that I think I would rather, like, if you're the winner of Top Chef, it's like, I am the winner of Top Chef, I beat out all these other people. But then it's like all those other people. It's kind of like the American Idol syndrome where it's like, well, this person won, but the top 6 all got deals.
Oh, yeah.
That's not as exciting. I want those top 6 people
but
to go
I mean,
home.
if we're talking Top Chef, the most successful is probably Richard Blais.
Yeah.
Because he does all that guest work.
Who's that other skinny white guy that's on everything that doesn't do well? He never wins. He's real annoying.
Marcus?
No.
Marcel? Was that his name?
What's his name? Brian?
Oh, he was on like 3 seasons and came in
Yeah.
second every time?
Yeah.
His brother won, and
I am thinking of
Michael and Brian Voltaggio.
No, I'm thinking of a different white guy.
There's a lot of them
He
out
was
there,
on.
man.
He was on that season with the brother that got second in like the redemption
The
one.
Voltaggio brothers?
Yeah, he was on that redemption season with that we watched. What was his name? It's not Blaze. It's the other annoying guy that nobody. Marchoni, Mangarelli.
I said Marcel.
It's not him. Hold on.
You know what? At the commercial break, we will look up.
Commercial break. Who do you think we are? I'm looking it up right now.
Here's a word from our sponsors while we look it up. The Food Network.
Yeah, the word is, what the fuck is this guy? Malarkey.
Oh, Brian Malarkey.
Malarkey. That's his name.
I don't think of him as a generic white guy that nobody likes. I like Brian Malarkey.
I was just trying to throw out buzzwords to see if we could get his name, and it didn't work.
Oh. Yeah, he does some
He's
Food Network.
Guys grocery games and stuff, too.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff there. I mean, look, they can all cook. Padma Lakshmi, beautiful. Gail Simmons knows what she's talking about.
She the one that's pregnant sometimes?
She's also beautiful.
Okay.
But yes, yeah. I think she's the editor for Food and Wine magazine. She knows her food, guys.
I just also I would love to be a food judge. There's too much salt.
I read this really interesting article where they were like, you don't want to be a judge because you're eating everything and
Cold.
it's like 3 hours old and it's cold. And
I would still want to do that.
would you?
Also, food is completely objective.
I mean, it's not completely objective.
As far
No
as
one wants
like,
to eat my grilled cheese. That's not true. I make an okay grilled cheese.
Well, it's just funny that they're like, food is objective as far as like, this tastes bad, this tastes good, I like this. I mean, under like temperature of food, not objective. But like taste and how people like it, it's completely objective. Right? Am I crazy? You're just looking at me.
This makes for great podcasting too. No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are certain criteria, right, that are not subjective. So you can be like, this is too salty. If you serve me a salt brick, I'm going to be like, I'm not eating that. You know what I mean? But you're trying to say that, like, from an aesthetic standpoint, I can say something is pretty and tastes good and you don't agree.
Correct.
Yeah. But that's why you probably don't always only have one judge.
That's why there's always 7 judges to figure out what's going on. Unless it's Hell's Kitchen, then it's Gordon Ramsay.
And not to say, I'm circling back to to Iron Chef because they always have one person who's like not a food person as their celebrity judge or whatever, and they don't know what they're talking about. But I would be one of those people. I would love to.
You're right. This is a grilled cheese. And that is
there
it.
is cheese. Yeah,
there's cheese. It is grilled.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Sure, why not?
Oh, so good. All right, so we're gonna move on from not Iron Chef, Top Chef. Too many chefs. So this show, 2009, has 47 seasons.
This must be Chopped.
It's Chopped.
Okay. Does that include like Chopped Sweets and Chopped?
This said 47 seasons. It
Okay.
said that Chopped Sweets was a spin-off, so I don't know if that counts in this number.
Yeah, like Chopped Junior. There's so many Chopped.
Do you get into Chopped? Do you like Chopped?
Chopped is how I got into food shows.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I love
Ted Allen.
I love it.
Oh.
I love Chopped.
You just love the show.
That's where I also met a lot of that was like the first show that I watched. Is how I got to know. I know them, like Alex Gordicelli.
Yeah, we're all friends.
That guy who hates raw red onions.
Scott.
Aron Sanchez.
Mhm.
That other girl.
The
blonde one. She seems fun. That bald guy.
Jeffrey Zakarian.
The Indian lady.
He was not the bald guy.
What's her name?
Who are you talking about?
She's the Indian judge.
Artie Sakura?
Yeah.
Artie Sakura.
Artie Sakura is
comes
not a
later.
Chopped
She
judge.
won. She won a
she's
Food
the
Network
other
star.
Indian lady who.
It's been a long time since I've seen Chopped. I love Chopped at the
She's very
beginning.
good.
It's how I started. I haven't gone back to it in a while because it's a little bit formulaic, and once you know the judges, you know what they're looking for.
Yeah. Formulaic, you mean how there's 4 people every time, and there's one person who had a drug problem. There's one person trying to save his family.
I didn't mean the contestants.
There's one person that's from another country, and then there's the girl one.
Look, I mean, the more that we dissect these, the more they're all kind of a formula, right? So I don't mean to say anything bad about Chopped. I love Chopped for what it is. I love the idea that you don't know what you're going to be cooking with, and it's kind of a situation that all of us find ourselves in as humans, not on television. There will inevitably be a day that we open up a pantry cupboard and we say, what do I have and what can I make out of it? So to add a competitive element to that and use real chefs who know what they're doing, I think is super fascinating.
And that's all you have is Rocky Mountain oysters, a bottle of grenadine, and a box of sprinkles. What are you going to make?
Ice cream, always.
Perfect. So I see these ingredients, and I thought to myself, I'm comfortable with these. I've worked with these before. So I go to the ice cream machine. There's 20 seconds left. I better make a vinaigrette.
It's either that or it's either that or like I'm going to make a salad and I don't know how to use these ingredients because I'm vegan. And I'm just going to wing it.
Yeah. Did I tell you? So when I worked at the one of my teaching jobs in culinary stuff, we did a birthday party theme that was Chopped.
Oh, fun.
And we used to have kids' birthday parties and they could pick Chopped, and it was for kids. And so you had to pick their mystery ingredients, and I would always pick like ketchup.
Oh.
I would always
Not
pick,
my favorite condiment.
What was it? I would pick like blue cheese.
Okay.
And like
winner.
What was it? Like frozen peas were like the 3 that I would give to every kid. These kids would have meltdowns. Why? And then you'd have, because they'd be like, we want to make a sandwich. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that ketchup? Put it on the sandwich. I'm not eating that. You better come up with something better. You better figure it out.
So you were a judge too? You made the baskets and you were the judge?
So they would make
and then you would tell them you wouldn't eat it?
Yeah. If they were, I am not eating raw ketchup on white bread, Trevor.
Well, then why did you pick this?
You better figure it out. You better come up with something. You better spice it up. You better throw a thing in there. I had one kid who made a barbecue sauce. Brilliant. We can do
with blue cheese?
Ketchup. Blue cheese. They did not put blue cheese in the barbecue sauce.
I thought you said that the ingredients were ketchup.
Well, yeah, but they had to make like a full
meal.
Yeah.
So what are you serving blue cheese and barbecue sauce with?
They figured it out.
Okay.
That's just the one I distinctly remember.
Gotcha.
Because everyone was like, well, just put ketchup on the side. And I was like, have you seen the show? You'll get sent home. I mean, you're going home because it's a birthday party, but what are you going to do? I was a great judge. I did not work at that job for very long.
I would love to work on Chopped. I would love I'm not a food expert enough. I know a lot about food. I'm a decent home cook, but
the only thing that I ever worry about when it comes to food competitions, when I'm like, what could I not do, is proteins. I wouldn't know how to cook most protein. Like, I know how to, but there's some stuff where I'm like, I don't know what it means to be gamey. I don't know how this is supposed to be served.
Interesting.
Do I have
a book for you?
What is it? Freddie Prinze Jr.'s cookbook?
No, you already have that book.
It's so good. Shane, this is for you. So I got Sarah Michelle Gellar's cookbook and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s cookbook. You'd think Sarah Michelle Gellar would be the cook. Plot twist, she don't know nothing about cooking. Her recipes are like, cut a slice of watermelon and cut out flowers with a cookie cutter. You got watermelon flowers. Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, let me show you how to fuck this duck up.
He actually has a cooking degree as well, I think. Yeah.
It's crazy. I read them both and was like, Sarah Michelle Gellar, I am not cutting grilled cheese. It's a lot of
Sarah
grilled
Michelle
cheese on
Gellar,
this
we
episode.
love you.
I'm obsessed with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Please be on this podcast, says me who doesn't host this podcast.
And if she's friends with Tara Reid, don't listen to this podcast. Tara Reid doesn't listen anymore. We got rid of her.
Oh.
Tara Reid, Jessica Simpson. Who else do we make fun of? Hitler. Hitler doesn't listen anymore.
Oh.
Quite a following.
We're
2021
viewers.
even. So we're going to move on from Chopped into number 5. This is a show that was in 2009.
Okay.
Has 11 seasons.
Ooh. Am I supposed to guess? Is that how
Go
we're doing
sure.
this? Will I guess this?
Cupcake Wars.
Okay. Not my first guess.
Cupcake Wars, hosted by that guy who
dude
has a magician on Netflix. Who knew?
Oh.
Do you know he was a magician, Shane? Yeah, he has a Netflix show about being a magician. I was like, oh, his first gig was doing Cupcake Wars. Interesting.
This isn't the guy from Mean Girls?
No, this is the original Cupcake Wars.
Gotcha.
With the host is a magician. It threw me off when I learned that.
I frequently mix them up. I know who you're talking about.
And then the judges are Florian,
French.
Candace Sprinkles. What's her name?
Candace. It will come to me. We'll skip over it. Nelson.
Candace Nelson, founder of Sprinkles. Is that right?
Sprinkles Cupcake. Yep, the first cupcake shop in the U.S.
That
in the
doesn't
world.
sound right.
Look, that's how they always introduce her, so I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, it always started with like she the founder of cupcakes. I'm like, that can't be right.
The first to make a cupcake.
That can't be right.
I'm sure eventually we'll talk about Christina Tosi.
You can talk about her all you want. MasterChef's not till later.
Oh, okay.
So Cupcake Wars. Did you get into Cupcake Wars? Did you like Cupcake Wars?
Very briefly. So the other show that I really got into, which is food competition adjacent, is Food Network Challenge, which was like wedding cakes and sugar art and kind of the decorative elements of the cake world. I think that kind of predates a lot of these shows, and it's not technically a cooking or food competition show, so we probably won't talk about it today. But I thought of this show as a spin-off of that, where it incorporated flavor and it incorporated like decorative elements. This is kind of the first show that we're talking about that is like about the visual aesthetic of food as well as the flavor.
Yeah, I liked Cupcake Wars a lot because each episode was a theme.
Sure.
They had a guest judge who was hosting an event like that day.
Yeah.
So you had to make cupcakes for that day. And the first one was based on taste. So you would have to make a cupcake out of like non-traditional ingredients, which is like my favorite challenge of anything. So they're like, oh, we're doing a thing at SeaWorld. You better make a seaweed cupcake. And they're like, all right, cool. And then the next round, if you made it through that.
Hear it here first, folks. He won't eat ketchup, but he will eat a seaweed cupcake.
I don't want ketchup. I don't want raw ketchup. Blue cheese cupcake, I'm down.
Okay.
That sounds good. What was my thing? Peas. You make a pea puree cupcake? That sounds good. Ketchup and cupcakes?
Look, I don't make the rules. You did. In your old
You
role.
woke up today and chose violets.
I did.
So after the taste round, the second round is like the visual part.
Sure.
Which was a little... I liked that one okay, but it was they could do kind of whatever flavors they had in their back pocket.
That was my favorite part.
Well, and it would depend on the theme too. If it was like monster trucks, and they'd be like, "We made a full monster truck," I'd be like, "Joke's on you, Kathleen. The next challenge, you got to make 1,000 of those."
Yeah, because that was the quantity one, right? The third round.
Third round was just quantity, and they're like, "We're gonna fix the recipe from this round and do this with this round." That was the one I always skipped. Once the
third round,
yeah,
you just skipped to the winner.
I wouldn't even see who the winner was sometimes.
Oh,
I would just watch the taste round. I'd see the decorating round. I'd be like, that was cool. Next.
Yeah, the decorating round was my favorite. It was the first time that I felt in a television show that I was drawn in and could be an equal participant in the show, right? Because so much is based on flavor, and I think that that's the challenge for the Food Network and the challenge for kind of any cooking show is that like your audience is only seeing it with your eyes or their eyes, right? So you can describe it and talk about it as much as you want, but I'm not tasting the thing that you are. So for this competition, it was the first time that there was a round that I could see what the judges were seeing, and then I could also agree or disagree with them based on the same thing that they were basing their decisions on.
Your cupcakes look like trash. These ones look fun.
Yeah, if your monster truck has wheels where the piping is bad, I can see that, as opposed to someone like you're saying with the subjectivity of everything saying that it's too salty. I don't know that. I just have to take Florian's word for it, his French words.
If you can understand. He's
if anyone is ever wanting to be Lumiere or see what Lumiere is like as a human,
watch Florian scream at cupcakes.
I'd say his last name, but I can't.
I don't even know his last name.
It's there.
Sure is.
You can look it up on Cupcake Wars, available on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of the above.
Florian Ballinger.
Yeah.
Ballinger.
But if you call it Ballinger, he'll probably correct you for 12 hours.
And then he'll throw a cupcake at you.
I don't know him. Florian, I'm sure you're lovely.
I don't know him, but I'm sure he's great. Yeah, and Cupcake Wars was also the first show that I watched that I kind of got burnt out on, because you can only watch so many episodes before it's like, okay, they're making cupcakes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I could watch cupcake making for my life. That could be my job.
Not I. Okay, are you ready? We're moving on. 2010. Nope. 2000. Yep. 2010.
Is it the spin-off Cookie Wars?
Too Many Cooks.
My favorite part of today is guessing what the show's on.
Is that a show?
Too Many Cooks?
Oh my God, Shane. Too Many Cooks. Are you familiar with Too Many Cooks?
I'm not. Tell me more.
I'll show you afterwards. Look up Too Many Cooks.
Our new sponsors, Too Many Cooks.
Sponsored by Too Many Cooks. All right, we're moving on. 2010, Great British Bake Off.
Ugh. I could talk
This
for
is me at
hours
the
about
top.
this.
This is
This
my
is your
favorite.
favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's up there.
There aren't a lot of competition shows that I will watch over and over again, like you with Hell's Kitchen.
I feel seen.
But Great British Bake Off I can rewatch over and over.
Sure.
And I think I like this one the most. One, it's British, so it's just pleasant and nice. There's no aggression. There's no, I mean, the suspense is like, will my souffle fall? That's it. There's no like, bake for your life, or your mother gets hit by a truck. Like,
With the one exception of that episode
Baked
where,
Alaska Gate.
Oh, I was gonna say that one where he threw everything in the trash.
Baked Alaska Gate.
Was
Yeah,
that
his
Baked
Baked Alaska,
Alaska
because
Gate?
that sweet little old lady was like, fuck your cake. And like took it out of the fridge or something. Yeah, he threw his whole cake in the trash.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, where's your cake? He's like, it's in the bin.
It's in the bin. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the one guy says my ganache has gone wrong, I think I've made a meme of that because he's just so. Here's what I love about. I'm sorry. Do you have questions about it before I just start
No,
talking?
keep going.
Okay, great. Here's what I love about the Great British Bake Off. Hell's Kitchen is probably my favorite that we're going to talk about today. This is the exact opposite of it, right? Where it's all about the food. It's all about them supporting each other. It's all pleasant background music with sheep in the distance, and they're intense and they're lovely and they're British. And it's just refreshing to see people who care about food and care about each other all try and do their best.
Well, and with the Great British Bake Off too, I didn't know this at first. After I like watched the first season, I got like looked more into it. So they get to they compete,
Sure.
and then they go home and they can practice all week for that thing. So you don't have anybody that's showing up. In America, they're like, cook this ostrich, and you're like, cool, never cooked an ostrich before.
Sure.
I don't know how this works. So then they screw up, or they do really, really well because they fluke or something like that. But this one, they like know what their assignment is ahead of time, and they can practice it and bring their own stuff to like showcase the best thing they can do. And they're all home bakers. Nobody's professional.
Correct. Yeah. So if you've never seen the show, what are you doing? Please see it. I'm not judging you, audience, but
yes.
but get your life together. So there is in every episode there's 3 bakes, right? So 2 of them you get to practice. The other one is kind of blind. You have no idea what it is going into it. So there is still kind of the element of like, I don't know how to make a
brandy snap.
Yeah, a princess cake, right? And so so there are times that you don't know what you're doing, and it's funny to see what they think it is or how they are going to do it. But for the most part, yeah, they get the whole week to kind of practice and do everything that they want. It's the first show that to me introduced me to so many different types of baking. I think when we think of, in America, baking competitions, we don't think of breads, and we don't think of like...
It's usually cakes,
it's cake, cupcake, maybe cookies.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me that there are savory foods in the world of baking. It's always interesting when they try and add meat into things, because it's just not things we think about when we think about baking and what that world is.
Yeah. Plus,
and Mary Berry is...
Mary Berry, Paul Hollywood.
Oh, those eyes.
Noel Fielding. Is that his name? Noel?
It is Noel.
Sue and Mel.
Sue and Mel.
It's like the best
Sue and Mel
judges.
are my faves. Come back, Sue and Mel.
The best judges in all of competition history.
All the other hosts were lovely too, but Sue and Mel.
The bald one.
What about him?
Interesting. All right. Do you have anything else about the Great British Bake Off?
The Great British Bake Off. No, I really don't think so.
All right. We're moving on to number 7. We've already talked about 7 shows. Isn't that crazy?
How many do we have? 10?
13.
13.
I'm just kidding. So this one started in 1990.
Okay.
Took a break.
Ooh.
Was revamped in 2010 in America. Has 10 seasons.
It has 10 seasons currently. Is it still on?
MasterChef.
MasterChef.
So MasterChef, I've watched probably 2 or 3 seasons of MasterChef.
Oh, you have so much to catch up on.
Well, the ones that you keep watching are ones I've already seen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, and this is where I was introduced to Gordon Ramsay. I didn't really watch Hell's Kitchen until MasterChef came out. And it was like, oh, he has this other show. And it's like, oh, MasterChef was the other show.
For those of you who didn't see it, my jaw literally hit the floor just now.
Literally. Pick up your jaw. So MasterChef, if you don't know what MasterChef is, I'm telling the audience, not you. I'm just looking at you. MasterChef is they take home bakers, pit them against each other. Sometimes they're blind and they win. Sometimes they're not and they lose. Christine, right? Christina. There's a theme. So what they do is they have competitions every week. And if you're the worst, you get sent home. And if you win, you get a cookbook.
I don't think it's quite like that.
That's pretty much what it is.
I also love MasterChef because it's people just like us.
Mm-hmm.
I said it earlier. I'm not a brilliant cook, but I can do things. So it's always interesting to see what people who are like me do under time television.
How far do you think you could make it on a MasterChef?
I was gonna say I would win, but I wouldn't. I would come in top 5.
Oh, I would say I'd be out in the first 5.
Oh, no.
Great British Bake Off. How do you think
Great British
you'd do?
Bake Off, I would be out in the first few rounds. I love
Great British Bake Off. I think I could make it to the top 4.
Yeah, if it were an eating competition, I'd be all about it. But I'm not a baker, and bread always seems to be the second round, so I would not.
Bread's the easiest thing.
Well, okay, Mr. Baking Degree. I don't want to touch yeast if I don't have to.
And you heard it here first. So how far do you think you would make in like Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's Kitchen, I think, is more about personality than I think it's about actual cooking skills. Also, there's
so you'd be out first.
Thank you. Interesting. I have some words for you off camera. No, I think I could make it. I honestly don't know when it comes to Hell's Kitchen because
Hell's Kitchen, I'd be out first.
Because you don't make for good TV?
You're
in the 3rd season of the Dallas show, right?
I could not.
Is it like the pressure thing?
I couldn't do the cooking.
Oh. That show is the only show that I think runs on a brigade system, and so I think that is complicated. That's a challenge, especially for a home cook or someone who doesn't work in a restaurant to overcome. I don't know. Sometimes I'm in awe of how they keep all of that stuff in order in a brigade system where they don't have the POS or anything like that.
Well, and my degree also is strictly baking. It's not like barely any culinary. So there's a lot of just ingredients that I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. How do you cook this? Is it
you
starchy?
would know how to cook branzino? Is
that a fish?
Yes.
I don't know how to cook fish. I don't like fish. I don't eat fish.
I forgot. Yeah, you're not a fish person.
Seafood? You just boil a lobster and crack it open.
Okay.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, you'd be out first.
Yeah, I would serve lobster in the shell. It's a DIY lobster experience.
Interesting.
I would lose first, and Chef Ramsay would.
Or you'd win a Michelin star.
Or I'd win a Michelin star. I get to open.
Back to that
I get to open that
thing.
door, and it would be unlocked. That's the Hell's Kitchen. Are we on? We're on MasterChef. Back to Hell's Kitchen for a quick second. That finale where they're like, walk through this door. If it's unlocked, you win. Could you imagine being there and being like, hi, excuse me,
Can we switch doors?
My door is locked. Could we unlock it, please? Because I for sure won. You didn't. And then you have to like go through the winner's door after or go around. Tragic.
Or you just stay in Gordon Ramsay's office for the rest of you die there and you become the ghost of the
your family
the
cries off the balcony. Ridiculous. So at MasterChef, this is where I first met Graham.
Sure, Graham.
And Christina Tosi.
Graham Elliott?
Graham Elliott.
Yep. And Christina Tosi?
I'd never heard of her. You love Christina Tosi.
I love Christina Tosi.
Talk to me about Christina Tosi.
She
All
is...
right, next. No, just kidding.
Christina Tosi, of Milk Bar fame. I think that's the name of her.
You've been there, not me.
I have been there, and she has. I say she as if she's the only person who does all of it, but they've got what are those things called? The trucks with the food trucks.
Those trucks with
Those
the
trucks
food?
with the food are called food trucks. So again, you heard it here first. Yeah, they're real good. What is your question? about
Desserts,
Christina
right?
Tosi?
I mean, it's all.
Yeah, I forget that not everyone knows her. I love her. She's gorgeous.
She's
always
scary.
so well put together. She's nice, scary. So like,
Which
even
is the
when,
worst.
Yeah. So like when she's disappointed or when something doesn't go right, it's almost like that kindergarten teacher, like anger.
And she's like a whopping 5'1".
Yeah, probably. She's like 60 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, she's the scariest judge.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay's not scary on MasterChef.
Oh no, she's the one that I think has the chillest vibes.
I think Joe.
Joe is the scariest to me.
Joe has the chillest vibes. What are you talking about?
Okay, cool.
The Italian?
Yeah.
Before we move on to our next one, can we talk about, this might be controversial,
Ooh.
how Italians on the Food Network demand
Giada De Laurentiis.
demand
That you pronounce things
that
Italian?
we pronounce things
In
Italian.
Italian.
I'll give you a word. You say it in Italian. Parmesan.
Parmesan.
Ricotta.
Ricotta.
Linguine.
Linguine.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is sometimes difficult to watch Giada De Laurentiis in any of her shows.
With all 300 of her teeth.
God. And all of that cleavage. Put it away, girl.
Put it away.
That's not what the show is about. Giada De Laurentiis, I love you. Please listen to this podcast.
Could you imagine?
I think she's lovely. I think she's done great things for authentic Italian food in. This is me backpedaling as much as I can. No, I think
You
she
smell
is great.
that? You smell that bullshit?
No, I think she's great. Really, I do. I'm really interested to see what she does next. What's the next question before I keep digging a hole?
So we're going to move to number 8. 2013.
Did we talk at all about MasterChef?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Can I just plug Christine one more time?
Yeah.
She was blind and she won, guys. Need I say more?
Yes. So I was like, Christine.
Yes. Not Christina, who won season 10 of Hell's Kitchen.
And not Christina
favorite. And not
Tosi.
Christina Tosi, who
Christine.
was one of the judges.
Not Phantom of the Opera. Christine, stop talking.
Yeah. No, she had to cook a live lobster on the show. Blind. Somebody said, like, one of the advantages the guy won was you get to pick whether the person gets canned lobster or has to cook a live lobster. He gave most of them canned because it's a subpar product. But for her, he specifically said, I think she's weak and she won't be able to do this.
You ever give a blind girl a live lobster?
So
Joke's on him. She ran that shit to the bank as she won. She won.
It's an iconic episode. She's an iconic person. I think she has a TED Talk or like a talk that's out there. And it is pretty sensational to hear her story and what happened in her life and what's happened to her since MasterChef. Even,
yeah.
so.
I was watching her audition, like where she cooks
sure.
for them, where she's like,
where's the green onion?
Yeah. And she's like, could you tell me where I put the green onion?
Oh.
Could you? And they're like, it's in, and they go, it's in front of you. And I wanted her to go, thanks. Where? But yeah, I was like, I can't imagine. And she wiped the floor. I mean, she did do bad a couple times. There were a couple times where like your food wasn't great.
Nobody comes out of that show without a bruise.
Yeah.
In terms of like, yeah, nobody's ever unblemished.
All right, so now moving into number 8.
Yes, thank you for letting me take that.
This was a show. It had 15 seasons. It ran from 2013 to 17.
With 15 seasons?
Alton Brown.
Good Eats.
Cutthroat Kitchen.
Cutthroat Kitchen. Good Eats was not a
Good Eats. They brought that back. You ever seen Good Eats?
I have.
So good.
Well, you know my story about Alton Brown.
You know him.
Yeah, we went to the same church when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia.
You know so many people.
I know.
You know so many famous
people.
people. It's stupid. So we're going to talk about Cutthroat Kitchen real fast. It's my
Sure.
least favorite.
Really? I thought it was one of your
hate it.
favorites.
No, I hate it.
I'm not a huge fan.
The thing that drives me nuts about it is that the judge who tests it doesn't get to know what they went through to make it.
Oh, that's not my least favorite part about it.
Because it's like, okay, you have to make a steak dinner with mashed potatoes.
Sure.
However, you get no fire. You get a light bulb.
Sure.
So they're like, this steak is rare. This is trash. And he doesn't get to go, well, Margaret, they gave me an easy bake oven to work with. You're lucky you even got steak.
Well, yeah.
And then the person who had everything, she's like, this is pristine. This is perfect. And they don't get to like fight. And then the person gets sent home. And he's like, how was I supposed to cook a steak with an easy bake oven?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So that's the premise of the show. If you didn't know,
Yeah, Cutthroat Kitchen is you start with like $2,000.
Yeah.
And you can bid on things to like hinder your opponents. And it's not just like you have to use this ingredient instead. It is full on. Instead of a real kitchen, you get to use a tiny kitchen.
Yeah.
Instead of a fork, you get to use a dead snake.
Sure.
And my favorite, I'm trying to remember which one. Do you remember the episode?
I like the one where they had to make like shredded, like a hash, and instead of knives, somebody had to use like preschool scissors. So they had potatoes, but they didn't like. They had to cut them with with safety scissors.
What was the one where he made the wrong dish? He thought they said something, so he made that, and it was completely biscuits and gravy. And that's gonna drive me nuts.
I didn't watch a lot of them. The thing that I don't like about it is, to me, it's not cooking. To me, it's like who's
survive these?
Well, who's the
challenges?
best at bidding,
Mhm.
and like who's the best at sabotage. So I love cooking as a joyous experience. I love it as something that you put your love into and you care about, and you present your best to people. That show is kind of the antithesis of that, so it's not something that I love.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm trying to find. I can't remember now. It's stupid. Anyway, they gave him a meal to make, and he made the completely wrong thing, and he still made it because it tasted good. And they were like, "Well, but you did make the wrong dish." And he was like, "Oh well." And they were like, "All right, so we're gonna move on to the next round." And I'm like, it's just pure chaos. Anything Alton Brown hosts is just wild and out with Nick Cannon. Well, that was Nick Cannon, but
I didn't see that one. Was that a food show?
Wild and Out, yeah, strictly food, strictly Nick Cannon. So that was all for the.
I will say that I love the intelligence that Alton Brown has about food. I wish that there were more general knowledge about food and food science that he has done a really great job of. Even in that show, he'll be like, this is why this is working, or this is why this isn't, this sabotage isn't working.
He's a very smart food scientist.
Yeah. So that is one cool thing about Cutthroat Kitchen. Just not my fave of the ones we've talked about so far.
And I mean, we talked about Good Eats. We used to watch that a lot in school. And it's a lot of useful information. They've redone it a bunch.
When you say in school, do you mean like
culinary school?
Oh, culinary school. I was like, I didn't get so
my
lucky.
English degree, they talked about Good Eats. No,
we had the substitute teacher.
We did a lot. We did a lot of like, it was a lot of like his chocolate work.
Sure.
The science behind the baking stuff, and like I said, he's redone a lot of them to be like, well, I've learned that this is actually a better way to do this. So there's a whole series of just Good Eats remastered.
Yeah.
Where he'll watch his old episodes and fix stuff, which is super cool.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Are we talking about Food Network Star eventually?
I was gonna say on my list I had Worst Cooks and Food Network Star. Food Network Star was my jam. It used to be on right after the Glee Project. So
Sure.
it was like Glee Project, Food Network Star. That was my shit. And the original judges, I think it was Bobby Flay, Giada,
Laurentis, yep.
Alton Brown.
Yep.
And those were like that was like such a good panel of judges.
Yeah.
Because Bobby Flay and Giada know how to cook, but are more TV personalities,
Sure.
in my opinion. Alton Brown is good at both. Don't
Okay.
you disagree with me? He's good at both.
No. Oh, no. I was more your former comment, trying to process that. Like, I mean, Bobby Flay is an Iron Chef.
He's fine. Giada's the worst. But she holds the biggest, like, she's the best at, like, TV presence. I think she's a better host than Bobby.
Well,
Flay
I do think that in general they are all, like, the Food Network did a really good job at picking those three because they are experts at certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Giada is very good in front of a camera and can help nurture people like that.
by screaming mozzarella at them.
Yeah, Alden is really good about food knowledge. Bobby is really, really good at, I feel, at cooking specifically. So he is very good at kind of being able to, even outside of his style of Southwestern cooking, be able to help people that way. So I think that show was really brilliant as those three because of that. Again, it's one of those shows that I think is a lot less about the food and a lot more about the personality.
Yeah, and you've talked about it before. I mean, before today, I've talked to you about, like, Food Network has turned into a people who can talk in front of a camera and less about people who know how to cook really well.
Sure.
So I think Food Network it's the perfect show of, like, let's make it a reality show where you kind of have to cook good food, but can you also hold an audience?
Sure.
And then people who win are problematic. So,
well, I think it was, who was it? Anthony Bourdain, who was like, the Food Network is great, but just remember that it's about entertainment first and then about food. So, I'm sure he said it much more eloquently than me. I'm paraphrasing him there, but.
And then we talked a little bit about Worst Cooks also.
Worst Cooks.
That one is.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to Food Network star just to mention Artie Sakura, who is the Spice Queen. She's one of my faves. She won there. And you love the sandwich guy.
I watched.
forget his name.
That was the first season I watched. Jeff. And then I also watched I think it was the latest season with the bumpkin, the cowboy bumpkin that won, but then he turned out to be racist, so he didn't get a show. So
Guys,
it was
don't be racist. You'll lose your Food Network shows. That's not the only reason to not be racist, but.
Who knew this was like an inspirational podcast for moms? Don't be racist. You'll lose your Food Network show.
Don't be racist. Just in general, but also for the Food Network.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I was like, well, what a waste of a show, because the person who, like, Food Network star, it wasn't like, oh, if you were really good but you got third place, you got a shit. No, you didn't get anything.
And for a lot of them, I think they lost their show like pretty instantly afterwards.
Yeah,
because
it's more of a reality show of people want to see the reality show, not what happens after.
Well, yeah, I care a lot more. It's like a lot of the American Idol winners too. Like, I care about watching the show. Or I'm sorry,
Kelly Clarkson.
Idol. Yeah, I don't really watch her show anymore. But I did at one point care a lot more about watching the show than I did about what Jordan Sparks did after.
What didn't she do? She did The Masked Dancer. She
Did
did
she?
No Air. She
Yeah.
was in that movie.
I knew No Air. That was what I've known of Jordan Sparks since her career.
Battlefield. Her dad was a football player.
Oh, cool. Is it worth the watch? Should I? Or is that a song?
The Masked Dancer. What are you talking about?
Battlefield. What is that?
Battlefield. It's one of her biggest songs.
Oh,
It's like
cool. Good
No
for
Air,
you, Jordan Sparks. Get
No
it.
Air, number 1. Battlefield, number 2. Tattoo, number 3.
Oh gosh, what musicals?
One
were
Step
those
at a
in?
Time.
I don't know.
One Step
those
at a Time,
songs.
number 3. Tattoo, number 4. Just like a tattoo. No?
If it's not from a musical,
I'm sorry. This could be on our Jordan Sparks podcast. We're talking about Food Network.
Food Network.
How did we get there from?
Artie Sakura.
American Idol? Oh. We just talked about
Guy
American
Fieri
Idol.
won Food Network star.
He sure did, and
And
me
I'm
tell
sure
you
we'll
what
talk
Flavor
about-
Town. Oh my god.
I'm sure we'll
Oh
talk
my
about him
god,
later.
I can't get into Guy Fieri right now. Oh, that hair and that.
Oh, I was gonna
way
say,
he
besides
does
the hair, he
everything.
reminds me of you. You heard it here first, folks.
Wow. I didn't know I was going to get assassinated
Boom,
on this
roasted.
podcast. Boom, roasted. So Worst Cooks is what we were talking about.
Anne Burrell.
before. Yes, Anne Burrell and
With the Guy
a
Fieri
slew
hair.
of other, with a slew of other things. I really like that one. The best episodes are like the first 2.
I was gonna say, I think you love.
I love the
Worst Cooks.
signature challenge of the worst cooks in America, because it is people who poison their families on the regular by not cooking things right, come in and then cook for Anne Burrell. And she's like, did you cook this chicken? And they're like, not completely. And she's like, why is that?
I made it medium
I like
rare
the
for you.
texture. That texture will kill you, Margaret. Oh, maybe that's why my husband gets sick. Yeah. Or they're like, I'm making a chocolate lasagna. Oh, that's interesting. Are you doing
sounds-
like a chocolate pasta? No, I'm using regular pasta and I'm using Hershey syrup. Interesting. What's going in the middle? Tomatoes. It's lasagna. All right, let's buckle up. Or when they do like before, not they haven't done it recently, but the old seasons they used to have like open calls where it was like
sure.
bring your shitty dish, and they'd be like anything with surprise in it. Get
Instantly
out.
on the show.
Yeah,
You're
so
instantly
it's
chosen.
So good. And then they're like, how many people? How many people? Well,
How many
my
people have
girlfriend's
you
gotten
poisoned?
sick a lot. I've sent her to the hospital because she ate my food, or I caught my house on fire. Like, they took those people and they're like, well, let's make it a show. Then how do you win Worst Cooks in America? Are you the worst cook? No.
No.
If
You're
you
the
get
best of the
eliminated
worst.
first, you are literal trash. Worst Cooks in America, to
And
win,
Burrell can't help you.
have to learn things so that you can cook a good meal and then go home and not cook for your family.
Sure.
Because you know those people don't do that. Like, what do I take away from this? A couple $1,000s and the skill. I'm not gonna cook.
Well, and that's one of the things that I don't love. So there's a lot to talk about in Worst Cooks in America, but there's always like that challenge where Anne Burrell is like, I'm gonna teach you how to make pasta from scratch. Cool. I'm sure you, Dallas, know how to make pasta from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I will know how to make pasta from scratch. But we're people who like to cook. These are people who don't like to cook. You can cook if you want to, right?
I got 5 kids. I'm gonna whip up some pasta
Yeah,
from
I don't
scratch.
have an hour and the KitchenAid with the attachment to make the pasta. So this is another moment where it's, you know, for the audience entertainment at home. These people are not learning skills that they're going to take home in a lot of cases, or like a lot of them are like, I can't afford to make a surf and turf, you know, when am I ever going to go find, I live in, I don't know, Kansas. Like, I'm not going to get fresh fish that I'm then going to fillet.
That good seafood restaurant in Kansas. You know they got that good.
Kansas, I don't know you very well. Maybe you have some excellent resources to get you. You're just landlocked.
freshwater
so.
seafood in Kansas.
Yeah. But so to me, that's all again, like, it's the balance, right, of entertainment versus like food.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we haven't talked about Worst Cooks is that Anne Burrell is a staple, but it seems like the other
People hate it.
Expert that is on the opposing team, they can't seem to nail somebody down. And I don't know if it's just because it's like Anne Burrell's show and then they rotate, or if it's like,
well, some of those people act like they hate it.
yeah, if it's
Alton
like
Brown
when Tyler
about
Flores
loses a
does
gasket.
it.
When he's like, turn off the stove, and they're like, I don't know how, and he's like, I don't know how to teach you how to turn off the stove. Or like just a base, or like anytime they get a mandolin out and they just start going at it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
you cringe
losing a finger. People who don't, when professional chefs on TV use a mandolin,
You still cringe. Yeah.
People who walk around with a knife just like this, I'm holding it out in front of me, like, and just don't know, and then they're just like putting things down and just using 2 hands to whack at it.
Yep.
Nightmare. I understand, like it. Amber
Anne Burrell
gets,
and that red
you better
Sharpie.
use your knife right, or she'll color your finger red with a Sharpie, and then you have a shame finger. So good.
So my question for you, because I'm flipping the script, who is your favorite not Anne Burrell counterpart? Here are your options.
Alex Guarnaschelli.
Alex Guarnaschelli
She
is
was
mine.
she
for
was
sure.
the best. That was like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
She does a really good, like her pans to the camera. Oh, Carla Hall also.
She's pretty good. Yeah, Alex was the one who was the most like, what have I signed up for? This is gonna be bad.
But I would watch
We're gonna
season after season
blanch
of
and
her.
shock this asparagus, and then she's like, I don't know what else to tell you. You blanch it. What does that mean? Just blanch it.
For those of you at
Blanchett.
home who don't know, blanching is a process in which you cook a vegetable very quickly in hot water, and then
to stop the
shocking.
cooling process. Oh, that's
And then
Shocking
shocking
it is
is not putting it through electricity. It's
putting it in cold
putting
water
it
to
in
stop
cold
the
water
cooking
to stop
process.
cooking.
Well, we've been talking about Food Network for an hour. Does it feel like it?
No, how many more shows do we have? 17.
Oh, we're done.
Oh, that was the last one.
I was gonna say, did you have anything was there any that I didn't hit on that you like
there are so many,
changed your
but
life? I feel like I hit most of the ones that.
The big ones we've definitely hit, for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's any like spin-off cooking shows that are.
No, I
What-
mean there.
What's your
Dare we talk about?
Paula Deen show? No.
No,
Not on this channel.
No.
What?
I was gonna say, on the opposite end of the spectrum of good cooking shows, there is a Netflix lovely little ditty that Nicole Byer hosts called Nailed It.
Nailed it. we don't have time to get into Nailed It.
Okay.
If you haven't seen Nailed It, you should watch it. It's people baking trash. Unrealistic expectations
Right.
to people who've never baked or don't know
Correct.
how.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the
I
perfect
wouldn't call the
storm.
people trash. I would say that
The baking is some of the people.
I
are
would
trash.
say
The
that they
baking
take
is
inexperienced bakers and they make them do things at a patisserie level.
garbage. It's ridiculous. Yeah, there's stuff on there that I was like, I didn't even learn that in my 200 hours of baking crap. They were like, oh, you probably won't ever have to do this. Make a unicorn cake, spud sugar, all that crap. I mean, I know how to do those
Yeah,
things.
I was gonna say. I feel like I
I
could
do know how to
those
do those
things.
things, but they're like, make these professional grade cake pops with tiny arms
Sure.
with fondant.
You can't do that.
You have 2 minutes to do so.
Well, that's
Oh,
the other
okay.
element is that a lot of these shows have time elements that us home cooks can't fathom.
So good. All right, well, I think we've hit every show on the Food Network. I
This
think
is
we
his way
run.
of getting rid of me.
we, yeah, pretty much. We run the Food Network now.
Sure.
We've talked about it for so long. Before we leave, we're gonna play a little game called "Does Dallas Like?"
Oh,
You clearly haven't listened to an episode of this podcast. We're gonna play.
I mean,
game.
the answer is no. I don't know many things that you do like.
So here's the thing. I'm going to give you 10 things.
Okay,
Rapid fire. You're going to say yes or no. Does Dallas like these things? Are you ready?
sure.
Tissue boxes.
No.
Shampoo. That's
No.
rude.
No.
This is a random generator, and that is rude that it gave me shampoo. Drill presses.
I don't know what that is.
A wallet.
Yes.
Tables.
Yes.
Refrigerators.
Yes.
Sharpies.
Yes.
T-shirts.
Yes.
Soap.
Yes.
Corks.
Corks, as in the things on wine bottles?
Corks.
No.
No, quarks. Like the scientific
Definitely
term.
no.
All right, that's all we have for the Dallas show today. Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about where people can find you and the Untold Stories Project?
Oh, cool. Hi, my name is Will. You can find me here in Columbus, Ohio, but I'm not giving you my address.
I meant online, you fool.
Oh, cool. I'm working with a group right now called Untold Stories Projects. We play some RPGs online because pandemic world. For those of you who don't know what RPGs are, they're role-playing games. They're similar. The idea is that we do things that are along the lines of Dungeons and Dragons, but not the big names. So we're not doing Dungeons and Dragons. We're not doing Pathfinder. We're not doing Call of Cthulhu. But we play a lot of games that are like those games that don't get the love that they deserve on the internet. So if you ever hear me talk about those, that's what it is. Come check us out at Untold Stories Project on Facebook or Untold Gamers on Twitter, and Untold Stories Project on Twitch, where we do stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday right now. I'm in the Fallout game on Wednesday. It's really awesome.
Awesome. Anything else?
I don't think so.
It's about time. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the season finale of the Dallas show. It's been a great ride. Are we going to do more? I do not know, but this has been a really fun thing to do. So hopefully we can get back into it. Goodbye, everybody.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Are you going to say bye?
La pasta.
La pasta. Whoa, what an episode, am I right? This is a thanks for everybody who helped make the Dallas show and the Dallas show podcast possible. To all of our backers, thank you very much. Specifically, Kimmer Callahan, thank you so much for everything that you've done to help with Static Copy Island. Thank you for helping produce the Dallas show. And thank you to, what does this say here? Oh, Dallas, you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye.